The chamber was silent except for the hum of translation devices. Captain Lee Minho stood at the center of the Galactic Council floor. His uniform pressed and clean, his face showing nothing. Around him, 847 species watched from their seats that rose in circles toward the ceiling. Some had eyes, some had sensors, and some perceived the world in ways humans could not understand. But all of them were looking at him now. High Chancellor Vrax raised one of his forearms. The insectoid being's voice came through the translator as a deep rumble. The vote is complete. 731 in favor, 116 against. Humanity is hereby exiled from the galactic community.
Oh.
Minho did not flinch. Behind him, Ambassador Kong Do-yan remained still, though his jaw tightened slightly. Dr. Park Ji-won, the third member of Earth's delegation, actually smiled. It was a small smile, barely visible, but it was there. The charges are clear, Vrax continued. In 200 years of spaceflight, humanity has expanded too quickly. You are too aggressive in your exploration. Too curious about technologies that should remain sealed. Too unpredictable in your diplomatic relations. Your species advances at a rate that threatens the stability of this ancient community. A reptilian delegate named Thane rose from his seat. This is madness. Humanity has broken no laws. They have honored every treaty. You exile them for the crime of learning to fast? Sit down, Counselor, Vrax said coldly. The vote is done. The decision is made. He turned back to Minho. You have 10 galactic standard years to evacuate all human colonies. All humans must return to your home system. After that, Earth and your entire solar system will be surrounded by a quarantine barrier. You will remain isolated for 1,000 years. Perhaps then, your species will have learned patience. Minho stood quiet for a long moment. The chamber waited. Many expected rage or pleading or threats. Humans were known for their emotions, their passion, their refusal to accept defeat. Instead, Minho simply nodded once. Understood. We'll be gone in 5 years. A murmur rippled through the council. 5 years? They had been given 10. Accept this? Vrax leaned forward, his compound eyes glittering in the light. You do not protest? You do not beg us to reconsider? Would it change anything? Minho asked. His voice was calm, almost polite. No, Vrax admitted. Then we accept. Minho turned to his colleagues. We're done here. Ambassador Kong picked up his datapad. Dr. Park gathered her notes, still wearing that small smile. The three of them walked toward the exit. Their footsteps echoed in the massive chamber. 847 species watched them go. And for the first time in thousands of years, the Galactic Council felt uncertain. Captain Minho Thane called out. The old reptilian had tears in his eyes. I am sorry. We tried. Minho paused and looked back at him. We know. Thank you for your voice, Counselor. We won't forget it. Then he continued walking. As the doors closed behind the human delegation, Vrax settled back into his seat. Around him, other counselors began to speak. That was too easy, said one. Humans never accept anything easily, said another. Perhaps they know they cannot win, Vrax suggested. But even he sounded doubtful. Outside the chamber, in the corridor leading to the docking bays, Minho finally let out a long breath. Is everything ready? Dr. Park nodded. The message went out 3 months ago when we knew which way the vote would go. All key personnel are already aware. The colonies have been preparing, and the project, Kong asked quietly. 68% complete, Park said. We'll have it done within 4 years. The 5th year is just to make sure everything is perfect. Minho pulled out a small quantum communicator from his pocket. These devices were illegal under galactic law, too dangerous, too fast, impossible to intercept or monitor. Humanity had been making them for 30 years. He pressed a single button and spoke one word: proceed. Across the galaxy, on hundreds of human worlds and stations, people received the message in the same instant. They had been waiting for this. They had been preparing for this. And now it was time. On Earth, in a secret facility beneath the Atlantic Ocean, Admiral Choi Hoon-woo stood in a command center and watched the word appear on his screen. Around him, engineers and scientists began their work. Screens came to life. Systems activated. The plan they had been building for decades was finally in motion. How long until the galaxy realizes? An officer asked. Hyun-woo smiled grimly. By the time they figure it out, we'll be gone. Back on the Galactic Council station, an intelligence officer named Rix watched the human ship depart through a viewing port. Rix was a Vraxian, like the High Chancellor, assigned to monitor humanity's withdrawal. Something about this felt wrong. Humans did not surrender. They did not accept defeat. They fought and argued and pushed back against everything. So why had they agreed so easily? Rix pulled up files on human history. The species was only 200 years into space travel, but their homeworld history went back thousands of years. Wars, revolutions, struggles, triumphs. Again and again, when humanity was pushed into a corner, they found a way out. Sometimes through force, sometimes through cleverness, but always, always, they found a way. "What are you planning?" Rix whispered to the departing ship. Inside that ship, in the captain's quarters, Minho sat with Park and Kong. They shared a drink, something from Earth called whiskey. It burned going down, but it felt appropriate. "They fear us because we advance too quickly," Park said. "They have no idea how quickly we've actually been advancing." "The projects in the Oort cloud?" Kang asked. Park nodded. "Hidden beyond their sensors. The dimensional research. The gateway prototypes. We've been building for 50 years, and they never suspected. They gave us exactly what we needed," Minho said. "An excuse to leave? A reason to consolidate. They think they're imprisoning us," he laughed quietly. "They're setting us free." Kang raised his glass. "To Exile, then." "To Exile," the others echoed. They drank and through the window. They watched the Galactic Council station grow smaller behind them. Somewhere on that station, 847 species were celebrating their victory over the dangerous humans. They would sleep easier now, knowing the unpredictable species was contained. But if they had looked closer at the human ship's trajectory, they might have noticed something strange. It was not heading directly toward Earth. It was angling toward empty space. Toward a region where human sensors had detected something years ago. Something the galaxy did not know existed. Something that would change everything. Dr. Park looked at her datapad. At the calculations she had been refining for decades. In her mind, she saw it clearly. The gateway, the threshold, the door to something beyond this galaxy, beyond this universe. Humanity was not retreating. They were preparing to leap forward into territory the galaxy could not even imagine. She smiled that small smile again and thought, "Thank you for pushing us. We needed this." The ship jumped to faster-than-light speed and vanished into the dark between stars. Behind them, the galaxy breathed a sigh of relief. Ahead of them, infinity waited. The colony on Kepler 44 to be had been humanity's pride for 30 years. 50,000 people lived there, farming the rich soil and mining rare minerals from the mountains. Children had been born there who had never seen Earth. It was home. Now they were leaving. Pilot Nam Gisu brought her transport ship down to the landing pad with practiced ease. She had made this run 17 times in the past month, ferrying colonists back toward human space. Each time she expected protests, anger, tears. Instead, she found calm efficiency. "Morning, Jisu," the dockmaster said as she stepped off the ship. His name was Kim Tai-yang, though everyone called him Sonny. He was 7 years old and had been born on this world. "Morning, Sonny," she said, ruffling his hair. "You ready for the big trip?" "Yep," he grinned. "Mom says we're going somewhere amazing." "Your mom's smart," Jisoo said. She meant it. Sonny's mother was one of the engineers working on the project that Dr. Park had designed. She knew what was really happening. Jisoo watched as families loaded their belongings onto the ship. Not just clothes and personal items, but equipment, tools, even the computers from the agricultural centers. Humanity was taking everything. Every scrap of technology, every piece of data, every bit of infrastructure that could be moved was being packed up and hauled away. The Galactic Council had observers watching, of course. Rix, the Varaxian intelligence officer, stood near the edge of the landing zone with a scanning device. He was recording everything, making notes, trying to understand the human withdrawal. What puzzled him most was the lack of resistance. Humans had fought legal battles for months when the Council tried to restrict their mining operations in the Andromeda sector. They had nearly started a war over a trade dispute with the Saurians. They were passionate, emotional, difficult beings, so why were they leaving so quietly? Pilot Nam Rix approached her as she supervised the loading. "May I ask a question?" Gaisu turned to him. She had met Rix before. He was not cruel, just doing his job. "Sure, why are you taking everything? The buildings, the equipment, even the farming tools. The Council's decree only requires you to leave. You could leave infrastructure behind for future use by other species." Gaisu looked at him for a long moment. Then she smiled. "Why would we do that? We built it. We're taking it with us. Every bolt, every wire, every seed in the greenhouses, it's ours. But the effort required, we have time," Gaisu said. "And we have the ships." That was another thing that puzzled Rix. The sheer number of ships. When humanity had joined the galactic community 200 years ago, they had a modest fleet. Perhaps 2,000 vessels capable of interstellar travel. Now, somehow, they had tens of thousands. Where had they all come from? He had checked the records. Human shipyards were documented, monitored, regulated by Council inspectors. The numbers did not add up. There should not be this many ships. "Where are the ships being built?" Rix asked directly. Gizu's smile widened slightly. "Everywhere," she said, then turned back to her work. Rix reported this conversation to his superiors on the Galactic Council. They added it to the growing file of oddities surrounding the human exodus. Ships appearing from nowhere. Technology being stripped from every colony. Humans speaking in cryptic half-answers. And most disturbing of all is the complete lack of anger or resentment. The High Chancellor Vrax read the reports with growing unease. "They are planning something," he told his advisors. "What could they plan?" one advisor asked. "We will seal their system behind a barrier. They will be isolated for 1,000 years. "Yes," Vrax said slowly. "But what will they do during those 1,000 years?" In the Urt cloud, at the very edge of Earth's solar system, engineer Yoon Sarah stood in a construction bay that was not supposed to exist. Around her, a vessel the size of a city was taking shape. It did not look like a human ship. It did not look like any ship in the galaxy's records. It was something new. "How's the dimensional drive?" she asked one of her team. "Stable," the engineer reported. "We've run 300 test cycles." "It works, Sierra. It actually works." Sierra allowed herself a moment of pride. They had done it. The theory that Dr. Park had developed 30 years ago was now reality. A drive system that did not move through normal space, but through the cracks between universes. A way to step sideways out of this galaxy entirely. "How many ships will be ready?" Admiral Choi Hyunwoo's voice came over her communicator. 47 of the large arc ships, Sierra reported, and 300 smaller vessels. Enough to carry 8 million people on the first wave. The first wave, Hyunwoo repeated. "I still can't believe we're doing this. We've always been explorers," Sierra said. "The Council just reminded us why we explore. When doors close, we find new doors." Back on Earth. In the Atlantic facility, scientists were making the final calculations. Dr. Park Ji-won stood before a massive holographic display, showing dimensional mathematics that would have seemed like magic to most species in the galaxy. To her, it was simply the next step. "The barrier the Council will place around our system operates on a specific frequency," she explained to her team. "They think it will contain us. What they don't understand is that their barrier only affects normal space. It doesn't touch dimensional space." A young scientist named Shin Daeon raised his hand. "So we can pass through it?" "Better," Park said. "We can use it. The energy they pump into that barrier will actually help power our gateway." They're building us a launch pad and they don't even know it. Across human space, the colonies emptied. One by one, worlds that had hosted human cities fell silent. The buildings remained, but they were empty shells. Humans had taken everything of value and left nothing but bare walls. On the colony world of Tau Ceti, Counselor Thane walked through an abandoned human school. Desks were gone. Computers removed. Even the educational posters had been stripped from the walls. In one classroom, he found a single item left behind, a child's drawing of Earth, blue and green and beautiful. With the words "We'll be back" written in careful letters, Thane felt his heart break a little. He had tried to stop this. He had voted against Exile. But he had been overruled, and now an entire species was being erased from the galaxy. Except they were not being erased. They were leaving. And that was somehow worse. In the final year before the deadline, Rick sent increasingly urgent reports to the Council. "Human ships are disappearing," he wrote. "They depart from colonies heading toward Earth, but many never arrive. Our tracking systems lose them in deep space. Where are they going?" The Council discussed this in emergency sessions. Some suggested humanity was hiding ships for a future rebellion. Others thought they were simply incompetent at navigation. Vrack said nothing. But he watched and worried. Captain Lee Minho stood on the bridge of humanity's flagship and watched the countdown. 3 days until the deadline? All human colonies had been evacuated. All humans were accounted for, either on Earth or on the hidden ships in the Uric cloud. "Sir," his communications officer said, "Ambassador Kong wants to send a final message to the Council before the barrier goes up. Do we have approval?" Minho considered. They had remained silent for 5 years, speaking only when necessary, revealing nothing. But perhaps one final message would be appropriate. "Yes," he said. "Tell him to send it." On the Galactic Council station, Vrax received the transmission. It was from Ambassador Kong Do-yun, and it was brief. To the Galactic Council. "Humanity thanks you for 200 years of cooperation. We accept your decision and wish you well. We are departing as requested. Perhaps in 1,000 years we will meet again. Until then, remember us fondly. We will remember you." Verax read it 3 times, searching for hidden meaning, threats, or clues. He found none. It was simply a polite goodbye. "Activate the barrier," he ordered. Energy flowed from massive generators positioned around Earth's solar system. The barrier formed, a shell of force that would contain humanity for 10 centuries. Inside the barrier, on Earth, 8 billion humans watched the sky change color as the energy field took hold. They did not panic. They did not rage. They simply watched, and then, as one, they smiled. The door to their old life had closed. The door to something new was opening. The barrier hummed with power. High Chancellor Vrax watched from his observation station as the energy field stabilized around Earth's solar system. Monitors showed a perfect sphere of force, impenetrable and complete. Humanity was sealed inside. "Run a full diagnostic," Vrax ordered. The technicians worked quickly, checking every frequency and wavelength. After an hour, they reported back. "The barrier is functional, Chancellor. However, there is an anomaly." Vrax's antennae twitched. "What kind of anomaly?" "The humans modified something inside their system just before the barrier completed. Our sensors detected a massive energy surge near their homeworld. Now we cannot scan through the barrier at all. We should still be able to monitor them, but the signal is completely blocked. They modified our barrier?" Vrax felt his blood chill. "How is that possible?" "We don't know, sir. But whatever they did it perfectly. The barrier still contains them, but we are blind to what happens inside." Vrax dismissed the technicians and sat alone in his office, thinking, 5 years ago, humanity had walked away from their trial without protest. 5 years of silent, efficient withdrawal. 5 years of mysteries and missing ships and cryptic messages. What had they been planning? Inside the barrier, Dr. Park Ji-won stood in the Atlantic facility and watched her life's work come to completion. The gateway stretched before her, a massive ring structure, 1/2 kilometer wide. floating in a chamber deep beneath the ocean. It pulsed with light that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. "It's beautiful," Admiral Choi Hoon-hwa said beside her. "It's functional," Park corrected, but she was smiling. "The barrier the Council placed around us is feeding energy directly into the gateway. They built us a power source and locked themselves out of seeing what we do with it." Captain Lee Min-ho arrived, still in his dress uniform from the ceremony on the surface. Earth's government had just given a speech about humanity's future. It had been broadcast to every human in the solar system. 8 billion people listening as one. "Are we ready?" Min-ho asked. Park nodded. "The first ARC ships are in position. We've confirmed safe passage through 7 different dimensional barriers. The universes beyond are empty, waiting for us." "How many are going on the first wave?" 8 million, Park said. "Volunteers, mostly. Scientists, engineers, families, willing to take the risk. They'll establish colonies in the new dimensions and report back. If it's safe, the rest of humanity will follow in phases over the next 20 years. And Earth?" Min-ho asked. "Earth stays," Hyun-woo said firmly. "This is our home. 1 billion people will remain here, maintaining the gateway, continuing research, keeping the home fires burning. But the rest of humanity," he gestured to the gateway, "they're going to become something the galaxy has never seen." In orbit around Earth, Engineer Yoon Sera gave the final checks on the ARC ship Grace. It was one of 47 vessels designed for the crossing, each capable of carrying 200,000 people in comfort. Behind it, smaller ships waited, carrying supplies and equipment and everything humanity would need to build new civilizations. "All systems green," her assistant reported. "Dimensional drive is stable. Life support at maximum. We're ready to go." Sierra opened a channel to the Atlantic facility. "Grace to command. We're ready for departure." Dr. Park's voice came back, calm and steady. "Commander Grace, you are cleared for dimensional transition. Good luck, Sierra. Show them what humans can do." Sierra smiled. "Will do, Doctor." Grace out. She turned to her crew. "Everyone strap in. We're about to do something no one in this galaxy has ever done. We're leaving the universe." The gateway activated. Light that was not light filled the chamber. The rings spun, though it had no moving parts. And through the center, reality tore open like paper, revealing something beyond. Colors that had no names. Spaces that existed in directions that should not exist. The ARC ship Grace moved forward. As it touched the gateway, it seemed to stretch and compress at the same time, becoming thin as paper, then snapping back to normal on the other side. The crew felt a moment of disorientation, a sensation of being in 2 places at once. And then it was done. They were through. Sierra looked at her instruments. Normal space readings were gone. In their place were entirely new metrics, measurements of dimensional depth and reality thickness, and quantum probability. Outside the ship, they could see something that might have been stars, but was not quite stars. It was a new universe, empty and young and full of potential. "Grace to command," Sierra said, her voice shaking with emotion. "We made it. The crossing works. We're really here." Back on Earth, in the Atlantic facility, Park heard the message and let out a breath she had been holding for 30 years. Around her, scientists and engineers cheered and hugged and cried with joy. "Send the next ship," Park ordered, "and prepare a message for the galaxy. It's time they knew what we've done." Ambassador Kang Do-yeon had been working on the message for days. It needed to be perfect, not too boastful, but clear enough that the galaxy would understand. Finally, he was satisfied. He stood before a camera in the communications center and began to record. "To the Galactic Council and all member species, humanity sends greetings from behind the barrier you placed around our home. You exiled us because you feared our potential. You worried we would grow too strong, too fast, too unpredictable. You were right to worry, but not for the reasons you think." Kong paused, letting the words sink in. "For 30 years, while we explored your galaxy, we were also exploring something else. The spaces between universes. The cracks in reality. We found something you never looked for because you were satisfied with what you had. We found doors to other places, other realms, other entire universes waiting to be discovered. Another pause. You gave us 10 years to leave your galaxy. We did it in 5 because we were eager to begin our real journey. The barrier you placed around Earth is perfect. It contains us completely within this solar system. But it only contains us in this universe. We have discovered 7 other universes, and we are entering them now. Millions of humans are crossing over into new realities, building new civilizations, exploring territories that your species will never see. Kong's expression softened, became almost kind. We do not tell you this to boast. We tell you this so you understand. Humanity was never meant to stay in your galaxy. We are explorers by nature, curious to a fault, always reaching for something beyond our grasp. You exiled us, and in doing so, you gave us the push we needed to become what we were always meant to be. So thank you, Galactic Council. Thank you for the exile. Thank you for forcing us to look beyond your borders. We were always destined for something greater than your galaxy. He stepped closer to the camera. This will be our final communication. We are leaving your universe now. Do not try to breach the barrier. Do not try to follow us. You cannot. The paths we have found require technologies and understanding that your species are not ready for. Perhaps in 1,000 years, when the barrier falls, we will meet again. Perhaps humanity will return to see how you have grown. Or perhaps we will be so far away, so changed, so evolved, that you will not recognize us. Kong smiled, and it was not a kind smile now. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret, who had won a game without the other players even realizing they were playing. Goodbye, Galaxy. We will not forget you. But we are no longer bound by you. Humanity is leaving, and we are never coming back. The message ended. Kong sent it through the barrier using a narrow-band quantum transmitter that would burn out after a single use. The transmission would reach the Galactic Council in 3 days. By then, 8 million humans would be living in 7 different universes. On the Council Station, when the message finally arrived, chaos erupted. Species shouted and argued and demanded explanations. How had humanity done this? Where had they gone? Could they come back? Vrax watched the message 12 times. Each time, his certainty grew. Humanity had never been dangerous because they were aggressive or unpredictable. They were dangerous because they were creative. Because when faced with a wall, they did not try to break through it or climb over it. They simply found a different direction to walk. Can we follow them? Vrax asked his scientists. The scientists looked at each other nervously. Finally, one spoke. No, Chancellor. We have no idea how they did this. The physics they described should not be possible. Crossing between universes would require energy levels we cannot generate and mathematics we do not understand. It would take us centuries just to begin research. By then, Vrax said quietly, humanity will be so far ahead that we will never catch up.
Counselor?
Sane sat in his quarters and watched Kong's message one more time. When it ended, he laughed. It was a bitter laugh, but there was admiration in it too. We exiled them for being too curious, he said to himself, and their curiosity took them beyond our ability to even comprehend. Perhaps that is justice. Perhaps that is exactly what we deserved. In the Atlantic facility, Dr. Park stood before the gateway and watched as the 47th ARC ship passed through. 8 million humans gone, off to build new homes in impossible places. And this was just the beginning. What do you think they'll find out there? Minho asked. Park smiled. Everything. Absolutely everything. 50 years had passed since humanity's exile. Most species in the galaxy had forgotten about them. The humans were a cautionary tale now, a story told to young beings about the dangers of advancing too quickly. Earth's solar system sat behind its barrier, silent and sealed. The galaxy had moved on. Counselor Thane had not forgotten. He was old now, his scales faded, and his movements slow. He walked through a museum on the Council Station, looking at exhibits about the galaxy's history. There was a small section about humanity, with pictures of human cities and ships, and the final message from Ambassador Kong. They were remarkable, Thane said to himself. A young guide approached him. She was saurian, like Thane, but from a generation that had never met a human. You knew them, counselor? I did, Thane said. I tried to save them from exile. I failed. They were dangerous, though, right? That's what we're taught. Thane looked at her for a long moment. Dangerous, perhaps, but not in the way the council believed. They were dangerous because they dreamed bigger than we did, and we punished them for it. He left the museum and returned to his quarters. Lately, he had been having trouble sleeping. Dreams of human faces, asking him why he had not tried harder to stop the exile. He knew it was foolish guilt. He had done what he could. But still, the dreams came. Far away in a remote sector of the galaxy, Captain Vrex was having a very different kind of problem. Vrex was the son of the late High Chancellor Vrex, and he commanded a Vrexian exploration vessel. They had been investigating reports of strange energy readings in an empty region of space. Sir, his science officer said, we've found something. There's a structure here. It's not natural. Vrex looked at the scans. In the middle of nowhere, floating in the void between stars, was a station. It was small, automated, and according to the readings, still active. Can you identify the origin? Vrex asked. The science officer hesitated. Sir, the design is human. Vrex felt his blood go cold. That's impossible. Humans were exiled 50 years ago. They should all be behind the barrier around Earth. I'm reading the data correctly, sir. This is human technology, and it's been here for at least 60 years. 60 years. That meant it had been built before humanity's exile, hidden out here in the empty dark. Vrex made a decision. Prepare a boarding team. I want to know what that station is doing. They approached carefully. The station did not react, did not power weapons or send warnings. It simply floated, waiting. When Vrex's team docked and entered, they found corridors lit by emergency lights and systems running on minimal power. It's a monitoring station, one of the team said, reading a console. Automated. It's been collecting data for decades. What kind of data? Vrex asked. The team member's face went pale. Dimensional readings. Energy fluctuations in reality. It's been scanning the fabric of the universe itself. They found a central computer core and accessed it. The data was in human languages, but the ship's translator could handle it. What they found made no sense at first. Equations about dimensional physics. Maps of energy flows across the galaxy. In a final report, dated 3 months before humanity's exile, Vrex read it aloud. Subject: extra-dimensional parasite. Classification: critical threat. Recommendation: immediate action required. The entity feeds on the base energy of this universe. Current consumption rate will render the galaxy uninhabitable in 250 years. Humanity attempted to present findings to Galactic Council, but was dismissed as fear-mongering. Secondary measures required. Vrex read it again. Then a third time. Get me a science team out here now. I need this verified. It took 3 weeks, but the science team confirmed it. The galaxy was being drained. Something from outside their dimension was feeding on the fundamental energy of their universe. The process was slow, but accelerating. Stars would begin failing within a century. Within 200 years, life would be impossible, and humanity had known. They had tried to warn the Council, and the Council had exiled them. Vrex sent an urgent message to the Council station. When it arrived, it caused immediate panic. Emergency sessions were called. Scientists were consulted. Denials were made, then abandoned when the evidence became overwhelming. How did we miss this? High Chancellor Kira demanded. She was an avian being, wise and measured, but now her voice shook with fear. We did not miss it, an old counselor said. Humanity tried to tell us. 50 years ago, when we were preparing the exile trial, human scientists requested a hearing on dimensional energy readings. We denied it. We thought they were trying to distract from their trial. The council chamber fell silent. In the gallery, Thane sat with tears streaming down his face. They had not just exiled humanity unjustly. They had exiled the one species that knew how to save them. Can we contact them? Kira asked. No, a technician said. The barrier around Earth blocks all communication. It was designed that way. Then break the barrier. We cannot, Chancellor. The barrier was designed to last 1,000 years. We built it to be unbreakable. If we try to dismantle it early, the energy feedback could destroy Earth's entire solar system. Kira slumped in her seat. Then we are doomed. Not yet, Vrex said. He had come to the council station in person, still wearing his exploration uniform. The human station had more data. They were researching how to fight the parasite. Their notes mentioned something called dimensional resonance weapons, technology that can strike across universes. If we can understand their research, it would take us a century to understand it, a scientist interrupted. Maybe more. Human dimensional physics was decades ahead of ours, and that was 50 years ago. By now, they have advanced even further. We are like children trying to read an adult's textbook. The galaxy began to panic as the news spread. Some species proposed immediate evacuation, but where would they go? Others suggested pouring all resources into research, but there was not enough time. A few desperate and angry suggested trying to break through the barrier around Earth, even if it meant destroying humanity's home. No, Thane said, standing from his seat in the gallery. His voice was weak but clear. We have done enough harm to them. We will not commit genocide on top of Exile. Then what do we do? Kira asked. How do we survive? Nobody had an answer. For the first time in galactic history, the Council was helpless. They had always believed that age and experience brought wisdom. They had thought humanity's youth made them dangerous. Now, they understood that youth brought innovation, curiosity, and courage. All things the old galaxy lacked, or something else, Vrex said quietly. The human station recorded dimensional breaches over the past 50 years. Small tears in reality. They appear, remain stable for a few hours, then close. They have been occurring in a pattern around the galaxy. What kind of pattern? Kira asked. A grid, Vex said, as if someone is checking specific locations. Testing the barriers between dimensions, humanity, Thane said. They are monitoring us from the other side. Can we communicate through these breaches? Kira asked. We have tried, Vrex said. The tiers are too small and too unstable. We cannot send a message through them, but... He hesitated. 3 days ago, one of the tiers was different. Larger, more stable, and something came through. Rex pulled up a display. The council gasped. Floating in space, captured by Varaxian sensors, was a probe. It was sleek and strange, built with technologies that looked both human and utterly alien. On its side was a symbol, the flag of Earth, but changed. It had 7 stars around it now, instead of none. 7 for 7 universes. We have not approached it yet, Vrex said. We do not know if it is safe. Approach it, Kira ordered. If humanity is reaching out to us, we need to know why. When Vrex's ship approached the probe, it activated. A hologram appeared, projected into space. It showed a human woman, young and confident, wearing a uniform that no species in the galaxy had ever seen. This is Dr. Shindeon of the Human Dimensional Research Fleet, the recording said. If you are receiving this message, it means you have finally detected the parasite that is consuming your universe. We know because we have been monitoring you for 50 years. We know because we tried to warn you once, and you did not listen. The hologram paused. We do not say this to shame you. We say it because time is running out. Your galaxy has perhaps 150 years remaining before the damage becomes irreversible. You cannot stop the parasite with your current technology. You need help. Our help. Another pause. Humanity has fought and destroyed 3 of these parasites in other dimensions. We know how to kill them. We have the weapons, the knowledge, and the experience. But there is a problem. We are on the other side of dimensional barriers, and you are sealed behind the barrier you placed around Earth. We cannot reach you, and you cannot reach us. The hologram of Dr. Shin smiled. It was not a cruel smile, but it was not kind either. It was the smile of someone presenting a difficult choice. In 1 year, another dimensional breach will occur. A large one. stable enough to send a ship through. If you want humanity's help, send representatives through that breach. Come to us. Negotiate with us. Convince us to help the galaxy that exiled us. The hologram flickered. We will be waiting. Think carefully about what you will say. Choose your representatives wisely. And remember, the dimensional breach opened exactly 1 year later, as promised. It appeared in the same empty sector where the probe had been found, a tear in reality 2 kilometers wide. Through it, sensors detected something vast and impossible, a space that should not exist, a dimension beyond their own. Captain Vrek stood on the bridge of his ship, staring at the breach. Beside him were 2 other representatives chosen by the Council. Counselor Thane, now ancient and frail but insisting he must be part of this, and High Chancellor Kira, who had taken leadership of the Council 3 years after the parasite was discovered. This is probably a trap, Vrek said quietly. Probably, Kira agreed. But what choice do we have? I do not believe humanity means us harm, Thane said. His voice was weak, but firm. They are angry, yes. They have earned the right to be angry, but they are not cruel. You have more faith in them than I do, Rex said. I have more history with them than you do, Thane corrected. Your father exiled them. I tried to save them. Perhaps they remember the difference. The ship moved forward. As it approached the breach, Rex felt reality shift around them. The laws of physics became suggestions. Space folded in on itself. Colors existed that his eyes were not designed to see. And then suddenly, they were through. Rex looked out the viewport and his breath stopped. They were in a place that could not exist. Space stretched out before them, but it was wrong. Stars burned in colors that made no sense. Nebulae twisted in patterns that hurt to look at. And in the middle of it all, floating like a jewel, was a structure. It was a Dyson sphere, but not around a star. It was around something else, something that pulsed with energy that seemed to come from nowhere. Inside that sphere, Rex could see movement, lights, millions of structures, a civilization beyond anything he had imagined. Is that, Kira whispered, humanity, Thane said. Or what humanity has become? Ship approached them. It was sleek and beautiful, built with curves and angles that seemed to suggest movement even when still. It dwarfed their vessel, easily 10 times larger. A communication request came through. Galactic Council representatives, this is Fleet Commander Park Hyan of the Human Dimensional Authority. Welcome to Universe 7. Please follow our guidance. We will escort you to the negotiation platform. Rex recognized the name. Park. As in Dr. Park Ji-won, the scientist who had smiled during humanity's exile trial. This must be her grandson or great-grandson. They followed the human ship deeper into the impossible space. As they flew, they passed other human vessels. Hundreds of them, thousands, ships that looked like works of art. Bristling with technologies that made Vrex's instruments scream in confusion. How many humans are here? Kira asked quietly. Too many, Vrex said. Far too many. They should have had 8 billion when we exiled them. I'm seeing cities and ships and structures that could house hundreds of billions. They have had 50 years, Thane said. And 7 universes to expand into? This is not a refugee population. This is an empire. The negotiation platform turned out to be a station the size of a moon. It floated in the shadow of the Dyson sphere, connected to it by streams of light that might have been data or energy or something else entirely. The galactic ship docked, and the 3 representatives were escorted into a meeting chamber. The chamber was beautiful. Walls that seemed to be made of crystallized light. A ceiling that showed swirling galaxies that might have been real or projections. At the center of the room was a simple table with chairs. Waiting for them were 3 humans. Fleet Commander Park Hyan stood at the head of the table. He was young, perhaps 40 by human reckoning, with sharp eyes and a military bearing. Beside him was a woman in civilian dress, Diplomat Yoon Terry, descendant of the engineer who had built humanity's first arc ships. The 3rd human wore a scientist's coat and was introduced as Dr. Shin Dae-yoon, the person who had sent the probe. Release it, Park said. His voice was polite but cold. "We have much to discuss." The three galactic representatives sat. Thane's old body ached from the journey, but he forced himself upright. Dignity was important now. "Thank you for agreeing to meet with us," Kira began. "We come to ask, you come to beg," Park interrupted. "Let us be honest about what this is. Your galaxy is dying. You cannot save it. You need us. So you come here to beg for our help." Kira's feathers ruffled in anger, but she forced herself calm. "Yes, we need your help. The parasite that is consuming our universe, your universe," Park corrected. "Not ours. Not anymore. Humanity left your universe 50 years ago. We have built new homes in 7 other realities. We have populations in places you cannot imagine. Your universe is your problem now." "Please," Thane said quietly. "I know humanity's angry. I know we wronged you. But billions of innocent beings will die if you do not help us." Park looked at Thane for a long moment. "Counselor Thane, my grandmother spoke of you. She said you were one of the few who voted against our exile. One of the few who tried to help us, failed," Thane said. "And I have regretted it every day since." "Your regret is noted," Park said. His voice softened slightly. "But it does not change the fact that your galaxy exiled us. You feared us because we advanced too quickly. You punished us for being curious, for reaching beyond what you considered safe. And now you want us to save you." Freck spoke up. "We were wrong." "Is that what you want to hear?" "We were wrong to exile you. We were wrong to ignore your warnings about the parasite. We were wrong about everything. Does that satisfy you?" "No," Diplomat Yoon said. She had been silent until now, but her voice was sharp as a knife. "An apology from a descendant of the people who exiled us means nothing. Your father, Captain Vrex, was High Chancellor when humanity was exiled. He led the vote against us. He called us dangerous and unpredictable. Should we forgive that because you now admit he was wrong?" Vrex had no answer. Yoon continued, "Humanity does not forget. We carry the memory of our exile in everything we do. When we build ships, we remember that your galaxy rejected us. When we explore new universes, we remember that we were forced from our first home among the stars. When we teach our children history, we remember that 847 species voted to imprison us. Then we are doomed," Kira said quietly. "You will let us die to punish us for the mistakes of our ancestors." "No," Dr. Shin said. He spoke for the first time, and his voice was surprisingly gentle. "We will not let you die. But we will not save you for free." He pulled up a holographic display. It showed the parasite, a thing of teeth and hunger that existed in more dimensions than the eye could see. Around it, equations and battle plans and weapon designs. "We have fought these things 3 times, Shin said. We know their weaknesses. We know how to kill them. But doing so requires weapons that tear at the fabric of reality itself. Dangerous weapons. Weapons that could destroy entire galaxies if misused. We will deploy these weapons to save your universe. But in return, we require something from you." "What?" Kira asked. "Name your price. We will pay it." Park smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. "Your price is trust. After we save your galaxy, humanity will not rejoin the Galactic Council. We will not return to your governance or your laws. Instead, we will protect your galaxy from outside threats. We will be your guardians, watching from the shadows, intervening when necessary. You want to rule us," Rex said.
"How you?"
Corrected. "We want to protect you. There is a difference. Your council will continue to govern as it always has. Your species will live their lives as they choose, but humanity will maintain a presence in your universe. Hidden bases, monitoring stations, rapid response fleets. If another parasite appears, or if any extra-dimensional threat emerges, we will deal with it." "You want us to live under your protection?" Kira said slowly. "To know that humanity is watching us? Always." "Yes," Park said simply. "You exiled us because you feared our potential. You were right to fear it. We have become something your galaxy could never imagine. We have technologies that would seem like magic to you. We have fought battles in dimensions you cannot perceive. We are powerful enough to save you or destroy you with equal ease." He leaned forward. "But we will not destroy you. Because despite everything, we remember what it was like to be part of your galaxy. We remember the good times before the exile. We remember the species who voted against our removal. We remember that not all of you betrayed us." Thane felt tears on his face. "You will save us." "Yes," Park said, "but you will know forever that you exist because humanity allows it. You will know that the species you exiled is now the species that protects you. You will live with that knowledge every day. That is our price." The three galactic representatives looked at each other. It was a bitter price, but what choice did they have? "We accept," Kira said finally. "Save our galaxy. We will live with the consequences." Park nodded. "Dr. Shin, prepare the battle fleet. We deploy in 3 days." The battle against the parasite took 2 weeks. The galactic species watched in awe as human ships appeared throughout their universe. Hundreds of vessels deploying weapons that tore holes in dimensions. The parasite screamed in frequencies that made stars shudder. It fought back with tendrils of darkness that could erase matter from existence.